Hey, Adam.
What's up?
We're still caught behind this graphic.
Yeah, I'm a question. How come you got to use the restroom beforehand, but I had to sit here and play?
Come on, man. Don't give my personal business out there. Put it on the streets.
Come on, dude.
Man, what is it? What is today?
Today's Monday.
So what does that mean?
That means we're live, man. We've been live here for the last 10 minutes playing this stuff.
That was mostly you playing. That was some beautiful kind of bluesy, gospel-esque, High Ridge, inspired Monday. Should we go? Should we? I'm stalling here because we got a new system yet again, and we're gonna see if we can see each other here. I'm caught though. It's the same thing. No nose, no math. It's just like we're maskless as usual.
Well, that's good. That means we can't transmit or receive the virus. That seems pretty healthy, actually.
So should I go? Do I go? What do I do? Apple L. Bo, bam.
Picking your questions. So put them in the chat because we're talking all things music, all things piano, all things music theory or jazz or live for practicing or all that good stuff.
And let us know, Fred Hirsch. I see some comments about Fred Hirsch. Yeah, we're definitely going to talk about that because that was such a fun thing.
That was amazing.
But the waiting song is dope. And look, this is something that I know you probably know how to do, but look at that. Bam.
What happened?
I put the comment up.
Woo!
Yeah, put the comment up. This waiting song is dope. What's up, Due? Due Theophane, I would say. We got the cameras going. We got Peter Martin.
Look at this.
I'm
How
Peter
fancy
Martin.
are we
Adam
right
Man.
now?
Come on, man. We're so fancy that something's going to stop working.
This is incredible.
We know that's coming. But
oh, this is awesome. So what's up? Joe Kosis is on here. What's up, Adam? What's the meaning of life? So Joe and I played many basements when we were like 15 years old together.
Okay.
What's going on, Joe?
Joe looks like he's still 15. I'm looking at
Joe
his,
looks great.
Yeah. So the question here is Adam, I just put a piece of paper in front of you. I literally dropped this as Adam was playing. We have a couple new segments today, and I just want to know if you want this to be part of. This is a podcast and a YouTube show. Did you know that? We're double dipping here.
We're double dipping here. Yeah.
And so we got a couple of new things we're going to be doing, like putting these comments up and stuff. We're definitely going to do the Q&A, but we're going to do a couple of check-ins first. So the only question is, are we going to make those obviously it's going to be part of the YouTube show, as it were, because we're here.
Yeah.
But is this going to become a part of the podcast, too? Do we want to do this before we... Are we overcomplicating this?
No, let's make it part of the podcast. Why wouldn't the check-in be part of the podcast?
Okay.
Let's do it.
Okay, so should we roll the intro?
Roll it.
Come on, you got me nervous now, man.
Hold on. Okay, roll it.
No. You got to give me some time, man. You got to give me some time here. Okay, here we go. We're going to go.
All right, Andrew, this is October 5th.
Here we go. Live intro. Bam. Oh.
Maness.
And I'm Peter Martin.
And you're listening to the You'll Hear Podcast.
Daily music advice coming at you.
Coming at you today, sponsored by Open Studio. We are live on YouTube right now.
Yes.
Answering your questions. If you're listening to this in the podcast, please join us over at the Open Studio YouTube channel every Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern. We answer your questions. And today we're trying something new.
We're trying a lot of new. If you can imagine what just happened, you missed it. We don't know which screen's going where.
Yeah, we did a bunch of new stuff. What? What is going on?
I'm sorry, I cut you off there. You were saying some important administrative information.
We thought we would start this recording with a little with some segments, some catch-up segments, right? So we'll start with some check-ins, a couple of check-ins, and then we'll move on to a Q&A. How does that sound?
That's right. And if this proves as popular as we think it's going to,
it's going to be popular.
And you can always let us know by smashing that like button.
Literally dozens of
now,
people.
if you don't like, this is the way this works. If you like these segments, if you like the show in general, if you like Adam, if you like me, if you like anything, if you like these beautiful blue lights, you're going to smash the like button, which is the thumbs up. If you don't like it, you're going to do nothing. Okay? We're not actually smashing because the down button means like that has repercussions on us, right?
Yeah, give us some likes. We've only got a few right now. Just hit that like button, and that way everybody can hear it and see it, and you'll like it. Wait.
You'll like it, exactly.
Let's get to the check-in. I like this idea, man. So we're just going to start with a practice check-in. Is that right?
Yes, we're going to do a practice check-in. I thought this would be a good chance for us to be like, how was your practice during the last week? Because this is a weekly kind of situation here.
Yeah.
And we were talking about how we were kind of accountability partners, and we had the check-in for a while, which proved successful with the what did you say no to, until the whole world said no to everything.
And then we had to say no to everything.
So that we didn't need anymore. But we've both been doing some interesting practice and talking about it. So I thought it'd be good kind of accountability and maybe illuminate the folks, and eventually they can even be checking in with us. Right on.
So, man, since last week, so I bought that book that you recommended to me called Peak Performance. And I'm about halfway through it, and it's great. Actually, we talked about it a little bit today on the daily guided practice session earlier. But I've been really into the stress and rest thing. Like, I've been really tweaking how stressed am I making myself during my practice sessions, really trying to get into that sweet spot. There was a great analogy in the book of the idea is that you will stress yourself with your practice, and then you take some rest. And I think thinking about it like working a muscle is, first of all, it's something that I've done plenty of in the past and once, and I'm going to hurt myself, and I can do this all day. It's not really doing me any good, right? So you want to find that sweet spot of stress.
Right.
And that's what I've been kind of working on this week. But I've also been, so that's part of it. And then trying to, as you were kind of mentioning to me last week, like putting in some targeted rest in there. Intentional rest, though. It's been great, man.
Yeah.
Because also what's great about doing targeted rest as part of your practice is it kind of lets you off the hook. Like before I'm resting and I'm thinking like, oh man, this is like, I should be working. It's not cool to take this 20 minutes right now. I should just keep going 8 hours straight until I collapse onto a pile of Wayne Shorter CDs, you know?
It's like, ouch.
And now it's like that 20 minutes that I'll take after like a 90-minute workout or practice session or 60-minute practice session, I consider part of the session. And I like really am allowing myself to unplug. I'm giving myself permission to just get out of the workspace, right? And just really take a walk or go outside or, you know, have a drink of water or check in with the kids or whatever it is, you know? So that's been a game changer.
Nice.
And then one nuts and bolts thing that I was practicing today that I want to share with everybody, which I thought was super cool, was inspired by the Fred Hirsch masterclass that we had last week on Open Studio, which I'm sure we'll talk about more.
Good stuff.
But I've been working on these, and what do you know about these? These like 4-note voicings where I try to come up with interesting ways to play very basic, like a 2-5-1. So here would be like your 2-5-1 in C. Right? So they're quote unquote root position in that they're very low. But using different roots, like different inversions. So this is D minor is over A, right? And the G is over B, and then just going to a root position C. Or you could do it, you know, with starting on the third of D minor. Right?
Now on that the D minor over A.
So I'm doing 5, 3, 11, 7, right? So I have my shell, and my A is, we'll call it the root. And then I have a little pretty note in here.
It's interesting you think about that as D minor over A, because I hear that as like, I mean, it doesn't matter because it's
F over A,
F2 over A,
sure.
right?
But if there's a, you know, if there's a D down there, it sounds pretty good.
Yeah, it does.
And then moving up to B, F, G, and D, and then finally landing on whatever C you want. And you could do this over, like, I've been practicing this over any note of the chord tone. So again, on like if you wanted to do it on the third, that's a D minor, right? F, C, D, G. G7 flat 9, F, E, D, A flat 2. It's a little low.
But that's that great thing of being able to hear as you practice, like what you just said, a little low. People always talking about like, how do I? You got to play it. You got to play it. That's what practice is all about.
And then so what my decision there, I hear that, and I think that's a little low, so I take out the B to just make it 3 notes. It sounds great.
You're doing a little stargazing there as you were trying to figure.
I'm doing a little, not even shoegazing. No, but so this all came out of Fred Hirsch, just really kind of talking about voice leading and our choices in voicings, and I was like, am I being lazy? I'm being a little lazy. I could work on this a little more and get this more fluid as far. And then knowing that we have a 2 piano concert coming up and I want to have more low options to give you, to support you, and be just free with it, you know. So just trying to
tell you how much I hate low stuff lately. I should have mentioned that earlier.
Just keep it all up here.
No, that's great stuff. So, okay. So for me on the practice check-in, I kind of got back into some technical stuff this week, and it's interesting. Like I'm very, in some ways, kind of random to how I start practicing, but oftentimes it will lead to good things. Like I'm very responsive to the instrument. I was having some tuning issues, as you know, with the instrument here. Before the weather's changing, so the humidity in here is going crazy. I mean, it's getting dry basically. Yeah. But there was just a part of the piano in there that I really was not wanting to play a lot because the unisons were so whack. And unlike you, I'm not an accomplished or semi-accomplished tuner with tools. So
I'm the tuner that when the real tuners see coming, they're like, no, don't ruin this piano.
Yeah, but you would have been able to. I almost called you to get these unisons, but I kind of just got into a thing where I was practicing at the bottom of the piano.
Oh yeah,
mostly, and so that was sort of. I love restricted practice, and it can be. And the reason I said I kind of get into some random things. Sometimes it's as much based upon that, like the part of the instrument that I want to hear. But it's such a what a great instrument. Not necessarily the Hammer 88's okay, but I mean an acoustic piano is like just the keyboard in general.
Yeah.
That you can just restrict yourself to one. So I did that for a couple of days. I was just like playing down, only kind of. I was going up to maybe like G above middle C only.
That's it.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And so that kind of became the theme, and it was just based upon a little bit of a random.
Wow.
Kind of a random situation. So
that's really fun. So, and whatever you were practicing was down there.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And so I ended up doing a lot of technical stuff that I could just do down there. But I, practiced some tunes, and I was working on some of the Brazilian stuff that I had to learn. And I would just kind of, I go up a little bit.
I'm practicing a lot in 7/8 too, specifically some.
Oh. That's my jam. Are we gonna play that?
We might.
Okay.
No. We'll play it on the two piano thing. That's what I'm working on because I know it's going to come up, right?
So what is the date of that? That's coming up soon, right? Should we tell the people?
It's a week from Wednesday. It's what is that? That's Wednesday the
12th,
14th, maybe.
14th. Yeah,
Wednesday the 14th. We're going to be doing a live stream. That is at 8 p.m. Eastern, p.m. a.m. piano duo concert.
Yes, that's gonna be fun.
You're on the Bossa. I'm on the Steinway.
Well, we may switch around a little bit. I hadn't told you
Hammer
about
88s.
That. Well, no, we're not gonna necessarily switch into here. Well, we may, but I'm thinking it would be fun if we switched between the two pianos.
Okay.
Cool. If the setup allows.
I like it.
And yeah, I put up a comment a second ago. We got to figure out for you because you can't see when I put up the comments, but the folks can see it. From Coach Ian here, someone super cool must have given that book to Peter because he's clowning me because that's who gave me Peak Performance.
Peak Performance.
So I got to give out props to Ian who did give that to me. He's my running and mindfulness coach.
Nice.
And
if anybody wants to check it out,
what do you call that when you pass it on? I actually didn't pass on the thing. I just recommended it to you. But that's called not spreading the love. That's something different. Pay it forward.
Pay it forward. You're paying it forward.
I was paying it forward.
Spreading the love. It's all good. That's what's going on.
Cool. So should we get to some of these questions here? Oh wait, no, we
still have our other check-in.
Oh, we have our fitness and diet check-in.
Yeah,
not diet.
Can't bring up Ian and not talk about fitness and diet.
Okay, fitness check-in. Why don't you go in first? How's your fitness routine going? You're looking fit.
Oh, thank you.
But you got dark colors on, so I'm not sure.
No. I'm feeling very fit. So so Meatless Monday today.
Meatless Monday.
Meatless Monday is what we're doing.
Now, is this one of those kind of Meatless Mondays where it's meat substitute Monday, or is it like vegetable forward plant-based?
Plant-based.
Got it.
So we made some meatless sausage this morning with the kids, and everybody took one bite, and it was not for us.
Wait, which one did you have?
I don't know. Heather got it from.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, I don't know.
You can't just go out randomly grabbing.
I know.
Meat substitutes. You can get burned that way.
But it was not good. So we're doing that.
You guys are still too close to the original. Like, see, if you're going Monday,
we literally had sausage, biscuits, and gravy on Sunday.
So real ones. No, that's not. You got to go like a year without it, and then when you come to it, it's not like you don't remember it, but you're so desperate
grateful
for anything. Yeah, you're like, wow, this is pretty good. That's not bad.
No, man. So we've been doing Meatless Mondays, and then also I've been really into. So the book I read before Peak Performance was a book by Yuval Harari called *Sapiens: The History of Humans*, and which is really great. And he talks a lot about. He's obviously not a fan, or as big of a fan as the agricultural revolution as we all are. Yeah. And I really the last
big ag.
The last month or so, I've been really trying to eat more like a hunter-gatherer. So just not any processed foods. I completely cut out dairy this whole month.
Yeah.
and haven't been eating any bread, which I wasn't really anyway, but anything that was like post-agricultural revolution,
right,
bacon, like anything like that, I've been really keeping away from, and it makes you feel amazing. Like it's a lot of, nuts and seeds, and I do eat still some meat throughout the week, but a lot of just plants. It's just a lot of plants. And it's like whole food plants too. It's not any of this like fake sausage that tastes like cardboard. It's none of that stuff. It's really, really good. So that's what I've been doing. And then just that and daily walks and daily yoga. That's it.
Nice. Well, I think that, for me, one thing that we've been doing in our household is very similar to what you just brought up. And I think it's an important thing that I've learned as on my meatless journey is, whole food, plant-based. Like that's a proven, it hasn't even been studied enough yet because of some political reasons and kind of entrenched interests in this country and many Western countries that are, very pro big ag that are keeping this information from out there. But I think we're going to look back. It's a very misunderstood thing. So Kelly's been teaching me about that. And the fact that, from a diet standpoint, not diet as in I'm restricting, but like, what do you like? What kinds of foods do you eat? The whole food plant-based is a very, very proven healthy way of eating. Vegan can be, and I mean, a whole food plant-based is generally a vegan diet, but a vegan goes beyond that into lifestyle choices and things like that, political choices, and very good stuff. But as we always say, you can eat Oreos and French fries and be a vegan, but you're not whole food plant-based. So I've been trying to get deeper into the whole foods, the plant-based, and less of the vegan junk foods, of which there's a lot now because it's become such a popular way to eat no meat. And so they've got all these, like the fake sausage, and they're good. Some of them are good.
Yeah.
But
and if for those of you who might be wondering why a couple of jazz pianists are talking so much about their diet, we actually talk about this quite a bit just on our own when we're conversing as friends.
Yeah.
And I think the older you get, the more you realize how much this actually affects your performance in everything, not just your day to day, but certainly my practice.
Yep.
When I'm eating a ton of sugar and drinking a lot, I'm not practicing to my fullest.
Right.
Like, talk about not peak performance. I mean, you feel like crap. You practice in a shitty way, and then it's just, it's not as good. So you and I are constantly trying to tweak our diets and our exercise routine, really as musicians, to try to make us better, more effective artists.
Right. So I just put up a question from Nick, because I know we're still in the check-in segment of this situation, but this kind of ties in. How much coffee do you guys drink?
Oh, where is today's espresso?
We have it after this before we do the audios usually.
All right.
Yeah, I give Adam a little. This is part of the benefits of working at Open Studio. Even when you're 99% remote, we have an espresso that I provide for anybody.
We have an espresso.
So coffee. I mean, I do drink coffee every day, and I actually believe in a lot of the kind of mental and physical and even health benefits to it. I know that there's some conflicting stuff, and I'm no expert. Oh, should we tell them? Should this be the obligatory? We're not doctors.
Yeah, we're
doctors of jazz, of course.
Jazz doctors.
We gave each other honorary degrees.
We're jazz doctors, baby.
But I generally drink one to 2 cups of coffee a day, occasionally 3. And this is a big change because when we were in here working together all the time, we were just constantly brewing coffee, and it was like limitless.
So you're at 3 cups a day?
At the most, usually 2, and often 1. Like yesterday, I only had 1. Today, I've had 1.5. So I'll probably have an espresso. So this will probably end up being 2.5, but never over 3.
Man.
Yeah. What about you?
I'm at minimum 4 or 5.
Okay.
I'm still drinking a lot of coffee. Yeah.
Now, even as you have you seen it affect you differently as you slim down a lot? Is it still the same?
No, it's still the same. It doesn't mess with my stomach, coffee at all. Luckily, like Heather can only drink 1 or 2 cups before it starts messing with her stomach. But for me, I drink a lot when I practice in the morning. I usually practice a little bit in the morning, something. Yep. And I drink straight on through.
I mean, I find that the mental, I don't really do any other kind of stimulants or drugs or anything. So it's not that I'm saying you should choose one or the other. Either do hard drugs or coffee, but don't do both. No. But I feel like, and actually, oh, here we go. See, look at that. Lucas said, oh, see, there's some, I thought that we were going to have more like shut up and talk about jazz, but it's not. Lucas says plant-based jazz, right on. I like that hashtag. We're going to start doing that. And Coach says Sour Patch Kids are vegan and delicious. That is true. Yeah, coffee is plant-based. You're good. Yeah, I think it's it's like one of these things that in moderation you got to just really. Nice thing about getting older is you get more in tune with your body and kind of how it affects your mind. Like one thing that, and this kind of ties in with the exercise and health checking in general that I was been thinking about is because I've gotten a lot more, I'm just mindful about how I'm running and like, because I'm getting really good instruction and coaching in that now. And so I realized like before I just like go out and run or whatever. And I still like the freedom of just doing that and the health benefits and getting out in nature. But like this morning I was out running. I really try to pay attention to all the benefits because I know it's not like you can just run all day. So I basically had an hour. That was sort of my assignment. Was what ended up being about an hour of running in Forest Park. But I really tried to not just get into like, oh, I've got to get these miles in. And it was an easy run. It wasn't like I had to hit times, or it wasn't a workout. It was an easy run day. So I was trying to really just take everything in. And I realized there's a part of Forest Park that I go through that's like as close as you're going to be in a forest in the middle of a city, which is just amazing. And so I was so appreciative of that. And I was reminded of the health benefits that we get. We're talking about diet and exercise, which of course are important, but being in nature, especially as we're going into winter now, where we're going to be inside more.
For sure.
And so that was just a fleeting 45 seconds running through the forest. But I really tried to. I was very appreciative of it.
Just a little fleeting 45 seconds.
It was fleeting. I was like a little fairy prancing through the forest. Yeah, this is going to become the Mr. Rogers show. This is, the neighborhood. No, but it's just. It's really important to get that because that's the kind of inspiration that we can take to our music, that we can take to our creativity. And it also reminded me that, for our practice and stuff, like we might only have like, if we're lucky, say 90 minutes of like peak performance type practice in a day, actually.
Absolutely.
Even if you have all day just to practice, and who has that, but even that, like you might only have 90 minutes where you're really able to do something. So it's like, you got to get your mind right. And it's almost like, find your little 45 seconds of the forest in your practice, appreciate that.
Yeah.
And when we talk about falling in love with the process, it's like start to be able to identify that once you're getting there, because that can be the most impactful part of your music, of the day. And so I think as we go through health and wellness and all this, that's the important way to tie that back in to music and to practice, so that when you do get in front of your instrument, you're not just like, oh, I got to go through all this stuff.
So leave us your questions in the chat. We're going to get to the Q&A in a second, but I want to go back really quick because there was something I wanted to talk about that I forgot about the Peak Performance book. So let's go back to our practice check-in.
Back.
Okay. One of the things they talked about that I know intellectually and I've used before, but I've kind of let go of, and I've been using the last week or so, which has been really, really helpful. Both in practice and in the diet kind of thing, is they have this whole section where they say. I think it was violinists, where they broke down a violinist at a conservatory's practice schedule
in Berlin,
right? Yep. And everybody practices about the same amount of time, which you just have to do at a certain level. Everybody's practicing, right? So it becomes a matter of what are you practicing? What are the best students practicing that the not best students aren't?
Right.
And the best students had a very direct, very clear goal in weeks and months that they were working on. Like, this week I'm going to accomplish this.
Right.
And that was their goal. And they would work at that goal in a very focused way. And that's something that I had fallen off on. And I was just like, well, I'm going to be working on this this month, right? This is what I'm working on. Instead of, by the end of this week, I want to be able to accomplish this, right? Like, I want to be able to do this. And so I have to do the steps necessary to be able to work on, to be able to play this by the end of the week. And it has to be doable, but you want to stretch yourself a little bit. I hadn't been doing that in a while, and I've been doing that this week, and man, does that work. That works so well to have focused practice, to really put a goal of, this week I'm accomplishing these 2 things. Yeah. I mean, make it simple, 2 or 3 things, right? I'm accomplishing these 3 things. Here's what I need to do every day to make that happen. Right. And then do that until it happens. Do your stress and rest, right? Make sure you're stressing yourself so that you get there.
Yep.
Man, that is a game changer.
Well, and you might want to, are you familiar with the BHAG concept?
Hey, my mom might be watching this.
Whoa, no, come on, man. Whoa. Is this, we need a commercial break here. No, BHAG, this is BHAG. I'm all about the acronyms here. BHAG. What could that possibly be? But this is BHAGs are like the 2 things that you just were talking about for the week. Big, hairy, audacious goals.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
BHAG.
Sounds like you.
You got to be a hag. But yeah, I love that. I love when we it's like the what's that concept when you have the jar? You've got a jar, a glass jar, and you've got to put a bunch of.
Wait. Tell me more about the jar.
You know what a jar? It's a mason jar. So you've got a bunch of big rocks and then a bunch of like little pebbles that you got to put into there.
Oh yeah.
It's like if you put all the pebbles in first, and then you put the big ones in, and the big ones are really the BHAGs. Let's be honest here, right? Let's be clear. So, but if you put the BHAGs in, the big rocks in first, then the little things you can just they'll fill in all around.
They're gonna be carried along with it, right?
And when you're talking about practicing and writing down those two big things, that's your great example of that. Those big rocks. What's our natural tendency? What do most people want to do? They want to get 100 things done, and then they have their checklist, and then they start with the easiest ones because they want to feel good about checking off. That's not going to lead you to peak performance. That's just going to lead you to just getting some little things done.
Right.
Whereas now the thing about the 90 minutes or however much a day, like say you accomplish one big thing, oh man, then you're golden. Don't try to, then you've got the whole week to put your other big thing in that same day. Then fit in a few of those little rocks. You know what I mean? Kind of chill out, put some little things, have some fun or whatever. But falling in love with the process is about getting these things organized in a way that, your practice routine becomes. The only challenge is like how close are you going to get for yourself to really optimizing it with your coffee, your time of day, how you're feeling, all these different types of things. But you've got those two big things to do during the week. That might be Saturday and Sunday, and the whole week you're just getting your mind right to get to that point. Right?
I think, yes.
Sorry, you don't realize this. I just cut to you. And whenever I cut to you, that means something intelligent has to be said.
I had just a couple of medium-sized pebbles in my jar that I was... No, let's get to the Q&A. We could talk a lot more about this. I'm still in my first week of all this from the peak performance, so I'm still absorbing it.
Yeah.
But man, just having, to your point, just having those one or two things it just takes all the guesswork out. It's like this is what I need to be working on this week. It's great, man. It's really, really great.
M2J, what's up? Says smash the like button from Baghdad, Iraq. That's what I'm talking about. We're worldwide. You know what I'm saying? Big shout out to Baghdad. And hit that like button. It's not going to hurt you. It's not going to hurt you. It helps us spread the love. We pay it forward, right? Now this is gonna be good because I think only I can put the comments on. We need to get this over to you next week. But
no, you got it.
Go ahead and tell me.
You put some comments on. You got to read them before you do because I'm at a bit of a delay here.
Okay, got you. Okay, here we go. So now we're getting into the meat of the situation. Janet asks, please, can you talk about the different uses of diminished chords? When are they really dominant 7, flat 9 chords, and when are they not?
Oh.
So I think that they're diminished when the root. So what I'm playing here is G7, just kind of a crappy root position situation, right? Root 7, 3, 5, 7, flat 9. So that's a flat 9. When you put the root on B, that's a diminished, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No. Yeah. I think we talked about this. Just trying to remember what we said about this. Yeah. It's the same thing, right? So this, right? If I have B, D, F, and A flat, right? B diminished, and I just put this G way down low, just as you were doing.
Yeah.
These are the same thing. They actually function a lot in the same way. Like this goes to C minor.
Yeah.
And this goes to C minor.
Man, your voices are as crappy as mine today.
Well, yeah, I'm not Fred Hershing it. I'm definitely just giving some basic bop. But it's also the same scale.
Yeah.
Just starting at different places. B half whole for the diminished. G whole half. Sorry, B whole half. My bad. B whole half. And G half whole. So really, when you see a diminished 7, that means it's whole half starting from the root of that diminished 7. When you see dominant 7, flat 9, that's half whole starting from the root of the... But they are really the same, a lot of the same notes. Not exactly, but a lot of the same notes. They're twins. You know, they're fraternal twins.
Kissing cousins. Say down in the South.
Totally.
Yeah. We also call that brother and sister. A little inside Southern joke. Hey. I'm from Florida, lived in Louisiana. My parents from North Carolina.
Woo.
Okay. So I would just add one other thing. Sometimes I'll think about same example. like when it's diminished, B diminished, and we go to that major 7th, which is part of that same diminished scale, half, whole, half, depending on if you're thinking about it from the G or from the B. That, if you layer that on the G and the bass, is a sharp 9. So that's a little bit of a difference, even though they're complementary and they're both in their flat 9 or sharp 9. But that to me gives it more of that diminished. And if it was a true B diminished, it might go up to C minor major 7 or minor 6.
Yeah.
You know, it's a small little thing, but I think important. Cool. Thanks for the question, Janet.
So, okay, let me finish Janet's second question. When are they really dominant 7 flat 9 chords, and when are they not? So when she sees a B diminished, when can she just assume that it's a G7? So actually, Janet, never, right? Yeah, it is always, usually, especially in like modern real books, that is meant to be a diminished. Just know that it's very similar in function. So like if you say, for instance, if you see B flat major 7 to B diminished to C minor 7 to F7, right? And we have this over and over again. So you could substitute out a G7 for sure, but you wouldn't assume that. You would just do a B diminished, but knowing that it's really functioning the same way as that G7 flat 9. That's it.
Cool. So actually, I threw up another question by accident from Janet, but we're going to go with this too. I know you guys think why are we giving Janet so many questions? Well, that was an accident.
Oh, Janet's great though.
Yeah, Janet's great.
Yeah.
I'm not watching this live, saving it for the podcast version, but how much am I missing? How edited is the podcast compared with the YouTube live? How are you asking questions if you're not watching live? That's incredible. But maybe she's just typing them in, but like, I'm not listening.
Honestly, I'm not seeing Janet's questions in the chat, so I'm wondering where you're getting them from.
They're showing up in this program you told me about. But would you want to answer that one? Because actually, I don't even know.
Saving it for the podcast version, but how much am I missing? How edited is the podcast? It's not really at all. Andrew just breaks it up. He's not editing anything out.
Okay.
So it's the same version.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah.
Okay, here's from Yao, maybe a different Yao. We have another Yao friend who often shows up here. How to plan 8 hours of guitar practice routine. How to organize this time. 8 hours of guitar practice. Adam, you're a guitarist.
Don't.
Did we stump you there?
I've never practiced the guitar for 8 hours in a row.
Well, yeah, because you kind of view it a little bit as not a second.
It is a second instrument. It is literally just a songwriting tool that it's ended up on its way to gigs. So somehow,
well, this shouldn't be that different.
How to plan 8 hours of guitar practice. I mean, again, what you want to do, first of all, is take this in 50 to 90 minute chunks. Don't try to practice 8 hours in a row, because after about 2 hours, it's going to be diminishing returns. Take lots of breaks. Make sure that you have breaks planned in where you are not thinking about music, and maybe just section it off into tunes, scales, rhythm work.
Yeah.
That's what I would do. Maybe composition and performance at the end.
Yeah. I would say I think the only thing that's necessarily different for different instruments for practicing for large chunks or really any kind of practice concepts would be any kind of physicality. Obviously, if you're playing a wind instrument, you have to think about your breath and the physicality that demands. For guitar, I think, there's always physical challenges and just not even challenge, just physical situations for every instrument, right? So you want to be taking those breaks at places, but the main thing that's the same from all instrument is the mental side, right? So once you've kind of captured what you want to do in terms of how the physicality of the instrument is going to affect your practice routine, most of it is about the mental side. When we talked about earlier of like acknowledging that maybe 60 to 90 minutes is going to be your peak time of productivity in your practice, a lot of it, like this can take years, if certainly not months, and it can certainly be years if you're younger, where you get to the point where you're able to even begin to identify that on it and to predict that. Like there's nothing wrong with practicing 8 hours, and I didn't mean to suggest earlier. I mean, everybody that knows me for years knows that I'm a big proponent of practice. I'm just like, you can't practice too much. But you can practice a lot. It's not necessarily too much, but you can practice too much without hitting that peak amount. Now that peak amount might be 20 minutes. Something.
Yeah.
It might even be 5 minutes. But you've got to start to figure out once you're going next level with your practice, so that you make sure that is your most uninterrupted. And I don't just mean by your phone buzzing, but I mean by like your brain being most attuned to be able to maximize what's going on. If you're composing something, if you're arranging, if you're working on a specific technical challenge that's like overarching and more important than anything else you're doing, you've got to make sure that is compartmentalized into that time, at least that you have the best chance of it being, so, within that optimized time. So I would say when you're planning for 8 hours, it's almost like, try to plan the meat of that, wherever that's going to be, around what you're really, one of those big 2 things like you talked about, Adam, for the week. Make sure that it's based around that, so that you're hitting that, so that there's nothing wrong with practicing 8 hours and only 1 hour of it was super productive. That's great, because sometimes you have to practice 8 hours to get to that. I mean, if it was as easy as just like, I'm going to get into it, and as soon as I start, I'm going to be on 11, and then 60 minutes later, I'm done. That's great too, if you can do that. But you have to kind of feel it or feel around. And then you want to be doing stuff that's fun and enjoyable for most of that time anyway, so that you're enjoying the process, so that even when you're not making huge progress, you're having a good time, you're acclimating your ears, you're doing some good physical stuff that's helping to improve. So,
but you might think about too, with the 8 hours thing, building up to that. If you haven't, maybe you have built up to the 8 hours, because if you're doing 8 hours and 1 hour is focused, that's fine. But at that point, you might consider working on your concentration a little bit, so that you can extend that out. Without having, because you're not going to have 8 hours for the rest of your life, probably.
Right, because I'm thinking like, really, I mean, if you were saying like, okay, I had 8 hours to practice, I would recommend probably about 90 minutes to 2 hours of that just being technical practice, just on a percentage basis, because I feel like if you practice 4 hours, you might want to do 45 minutes, even an hour. I would certainly think about doing technical. The thing is, 2 hours, you can't practice technique on any instrument for 2 hours straight. You've got to take a break well before that, or you're going to hit some physical limitations, most likely. So, there's a limit to any of these things that you can do. Now, when you get into like composition, and that area, that's an arranging, which I know you've done a lot of this, Adam. That's where you can really extend for hours and hours with some really good productivity, because to compose something, you might spend 7 hours of just failure. Like, oh, I've got this great thing, and you write it, and that's 2 hours. And then you look at it, you're like, oh, that's a Charlie Parker tune. Oops. I've
done that. But I wrote We Are the World once.
Man, you felt great. You were like, oh my God, this is going to be a hit.
Yeah, and I was
and
like,
you were right.
I just wrote We Are the World in 2012. What the hell's going on?
It was a hit. You were right. So, hopefully that helped a little. Let's jump to, just a nice comment here from Jan or Jan, most likely. Regarding diminished chords, Barry Harris talked about moving a note from diminished chords to create dominant seventh chords. And that's kind of what you were alluding to. And we should definitely give props to the master, Barry Harris, whose concept on this is truly masterful, and I still don't understand for some reason. But I will one day. Okay, here's a good question. A little bit of a throwback to our earlier check-ins. You ready for this, Adam?
Yeah, let's do it.
This is from A Practice, like first initial A, last name Practice. How much beer/wine you guys drink?
Whoa.
Smiley face with laughter. Okay, why are you trying to pigeonhole us as like beer and wine guys? Why can't we be fancy bourbon guys, or like champagne or champipple?
I mean, the truth is we're all of those things, guys.
I know. Well, you're very disappointing in this area, because why don't you answer this one first, because you have a very interesting perspective.
No, I haven't had anything to drink this entire pandemic, so I'm pretty much giving it up at this point. But before that, it was quite a bit.
Yeah.
But I preferred wine. Yeah,
but you're very knowledgeable on beer.
I went through a big beer phase, but
should I tell him the
in my 30s I discovered wine. The
Belgian most expensive can of beer I've ever
I can't believe you didn't like that, man. That was amazing.
I can't believe you. Okay, can I tell a story?
Yeah, go ahead.
Real quick. Okay. Yeah. So Adam, we were going to eat. I was going to meet somebody at a great restaurant here. Are they still open? I hope they are. I think they are. I think
so. Ruben? Were you meeting Ruben?
Was it Ruben or Sean? I can't remember. Maybe both of them. But what's the name of the place? I haven't been there in so long now. I wanted to shout them out.
Olio,
of course. Yeah. Olio. Over on Tower Grove here. Great kind of Israeli restaurant. Mm-hmm. Israeli inspired.
It's
delicious. But I said I was going over there to grab a drink or some dinner, whatever we were doing. and Adam was like, "Oh, I'm not gonna be able to make it." He's like, "But make sure you get this great. What's the name of it?"
I'm gonna forget which one it was, but it was a Belgian sour.
Yeah, Belgian sour beer in a can, and he's like, but he tells me the name. He texts it to me, but he's like, "But you got to ask him for it because they don't have a lot of it. It's kind of a known thing."
Yeah,
it's only
you had
available in the
I
can.
forget what it was. It's one of the famous Belgian sours. Someone on here is probably gonna know it. And we didn't actually have access to it here in St. Louis, but this restaurant had gotten a hold of a couple of cases, and so they had it, but you had to ask them because they just had been using it in a dish.
Right. It was like a whole thing. And he's like, they only have it and it's in a can. I was like, man, this guy, get a can. We're going to get a PBR too? All right, whatever. So I asked him for it.
Probably would have liked the PBR more.
And so it comes out and it was not good.
But it was amazing.
It was not amazing. Sour really, really, I think describes it nicely. But basically, not only was it not good, it was $28. And so I kind of I didn't really complain. I was like, well, I mean, I asked for it. It was from behind the counter. I was like, thanks, Adam. Appreciate that, man.
Yeah, well, so, I'm a fancy guy.
He is a fancy guy. All right, let's get back to some music questions. How about that?
Yeah.
Sergio. Okay, this is a question that we get a lot over the years, and is an important issue from Sergio. As pianists, how do you interact with guitar players in a comping situation? So I'll just throw out a couple of things. Every situation is different. There's no, like, it really comes down to number one, listen. You have to listen to what the guitarist is doing. I mean, obviously with pianist and guitar, you have a situation where, you can really clash, but I look at it as just an opportunity to really blend. It's like a smile is just a frown turned upside down. You ever heard that one, Adam?
I have. Yeah. Take advantage of your colors, Sergio. Make sure that you are taking full advantage of the range.
Yes.
Because we have notes that the guitar can't hit.
Right.
And so we can work our way from the ends, and just be very mindful of what the guitarist is playing. That's not to say that you both can't play thick chords at the same time. You totally can.
Right.
But there's more to it than that.
Right. Yeah, and I think too, I love the the range thing, but it's a great opportunity to really listen, and like you got to learn the guitar at least a little bit, so that you understand how they put voicings together. Then you can understand. You can start to guess until you can actually hear exactly what they're playing. So that, like, if you can't hear what they're playing, you're not gonna be able to fit in with them except for going out of their range. So once you understand how voicings are put together on a guitar as opposed to the piano, like there's just certain things that guitarists can't do that we can do certain ways. So once you start learning that, you'll be able to have a smaller range of possible voicings when you hear one to be able to figure out what it is, and then it just becomes a matter of trial and error. But if you're listening, don't be one of those where it's like, okay, would you want to comp or you want me to comp? No, I mean, although there's times when that works, and if the music calls for that, but don't just do that because you're lazy or scared or don't know what to do. If you're lazy or scared, don't play.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. No, you're gonna have to figure it out eventually, and it does. There is a way that it works really, really well.
Yeah.
Let's skip back up towards the top because Paul makes a good point that we skipped some.
So I'm sorry, man.
We'll go to Paul's up top. Is there a good way to practice hearing lines or phrases that are outside of the changes?
Wait, let me find this. What's the name?
Paul. He's a longer question between.
Oh, Paul. Okay,
Ian
I see it. No,
I
got it. I'm all over that. All over that. Let me read it so I understand it too. Is there a good way to practice hearing lines or phrases that are outside of the changes, or is playing out more of a technical concept, moving a shape up or down? So that's a good way to think about it. I would say that an important way that I've thought about this and probably practiced it at one point to a degree is to try to combine those. So yeah, it's a technical concept, but don't just think about it. It's not technical as in like something that you need to work on your technique. Moving a shape up or down, but it needs to be a melodic idea based on a shape. It can't just be a shape. So in other words, if you're, if the shape is this over a minor, you don't want to get into a thing where it's like, I am playing out, not right. But if it's so I'm basing it on a shape, and really for me, I never feel that constricted by it. The shape is just a jumping off point.
Yeah.
But even as you're practicing it and working on that, hear it melodically so that you're shifting of it, the connector becomes the melody, because the trick to playing out is being able to play like let the melody and likely the rhythm, although the rhythm can be something that you play with too, but the melodic content be the connector between when you're in and when you're out. The harmony's going to be out, so something has to link it together, unless you're just going to go totally random with everything.
Yeah.
But the melody has to be strong, and so a shape on its own is not necessarily melodic. It has to be linked up with a rhythm and some kind of turn in the something that turns that shape into a melody.
Yeah, and actually, the sort of simpler you can play this, the more effective it can be. I just did a GPS here on YouTube on Friday on a Brad Meldau lick on Solar, which is all about Brad playing out and how he approaches it. And so the lick itself, it does 2 bars of C minor 7, and then, a 2/5 to F, and instead of F, it goes to F sharp.
Right.
Everything else is in F, but he's implying F sharp minor because it's going to F minor eventually, right?
Yep.
And so when you practice that, your instinct is to be like, on the 2/5. Which is fine, but the simpler you can make it, the more melodic you can make it. The more effective going out actually is. So people are expecting that they get but there's melody being created there even though you're taking it out.
Yeah, great stuff. All right, man, we're hitting some good stuff today. Good questions. Okay, here we go. From Tortog, our friend. Gospel piano uses a lot of passing chords. Can you talk about passing chords? Okay, so let's talk about passing chords specifically in gospel, I would say.
Sure.
And as much as people ask me about gospel, it's like, man, you got gospel. I've never studied gospel in the way that I would like to, actually. And so I'm not an expert on, I can play some of this stuff, especially as it's sort of infused more in the jazz and blues stuff that I play. So I look at it as more just, I'm not a gospel pianist, but I've taken some elements from it that I like. And the passing chord things that I hear are like, so we're on a G, right? Let's say we're going to go to the 4. Here's the 4. So that's blues, and it's also kind of gospel because of the way I'm voicing it, right? So a passing chord, and this one's kind of unique to gospel in that, like, if you do it in jazz, it's like, gospel, right? So it's like, so you go, So that's just the walk up, right? And so that's definitely gospel. So you're going 2, and this is all diatonic, and then to the 4. But then, like, one thing, so then you're going, instead of G over B, you're going like, I'm only adding one note, which is the E flat, because so it's like a E, a B.
A B altered.
B altered, yeah, B7 sharp 9 flat 13. So you got all these different, like, this is obviously a passing chord position. You're going from B to C. So like, what are the things you can do? G2 over B, G, sharp 9 flat 13. Or it's like, D flat 7 over B to C. So like those kind of passing chords. And then like, all those are those passing chords, I guess, like 4/1 movements when you're still sitting on the chord.
Those more like triads that we're moving around,
right? And then like, you're going to go to the 6. So you're walking up chromatically, but you got a chance for a passing chord. So you're going dominant from a half step below, or you can go from a half step above. Those are all kind of gospel type passing chords, And then that's one that's used a lot. So instead of going right from the 4 to the 5, which is actually the 1 over the 5, the flat and fifth, and then instead of 4 over 5, 1 over 5, 4, and then 5 over 5.
Yeah, more like
Aretha Franklin.
Yeah, exactly. Just go at least listen to Aretha Franklin, actually.
Yeah, there you go. Fuzzy Crumb. What's up, Fuzzy Crumb? With a K, like Professor Clump. Do you guys also play electric piano or organ? What differences do you use in voicing on each instrument? Yeah, so Adam, you're much more of a multi-keyboard instrumentalist than me, but of course, I mean, I'm kind of playing electric piano here with this sort of Rhodes sound. I mean, I had a Rhodes from when I was a kid. I played a lot of Rhodes. Organ, I haven't done a lot. I've done a little bit. I'm like not a.
It's a whole other instrument, man.
Yeah. The differences in voicings. I mean, really, for the Rhodes, like to me, the intonation of the thing, like they're always not this thing, but like an actual Rhodes is always out of tune. Yeah. Because it's like whenever they try to tune, you can tune it with those little things, but they try to line it up equally. And so it always, and that's kind of the character of the sound. So it's sort of, it doesn't disqualify certain voices, but certain like really tight things just don't, like that sounds good on here, but I think on an actual Rhodes that's not perfect, it might not work that good. So I always end up taking out more notes.
Yeah, well, and just the quality, the nature of the sound, you're going to have to take out more notes just because the timbre's so thick.
Yeah.
Compared to a piano, everything can be really thick. I played a Rhodes for years and years. I mean, I took it on every gig because I just didn't want to play digital keyboards at all.
Yeah.
I wanted a real hammer. And so if you're using a Rhodes, there are now so many great videos on YouTube, but make sure to set up your harmonics. If you set up your harmonic row correct, you can really tweak the sound to what you want. Like Chick had a very harmonic heavy Rhodes sound a lot, or you could go with something with a little more tone. It all depends on how you line it up compared to the pickup. And so that like little maintenance tweaks like that can make your Rhodes really shine. The one we have in there, man, if we were to get one of those amplifiers that's burnt out on the speaker cabinet, you would love that Rhodes. I don't know if you've ever played it, but it is incredibly fun to play.
Man,
I'm just emphatic because it's such a beautiful instrument that's sitting in our studio just not being played. I feel so guilty because it's so amazing.
Another amp on, or is the speaker blown?
I think no, the speaker's fine. It needs some work on the power amp, and because it keeps losing power over the course of 30 minutes or so. And it affects the tone, but man, is it so punchy and beautiful. It's one of those flat tops, so that the action is just, it's way better than that. Yeah. Really, it's very smooth. So man, I love that thing.
Cool. So we got time for just a couple more, because this is a 1 hour show. Did you know that?
I did know.
Yeah, we got some announcements at the end.
What?
Yeah, come on, man.
What?
We got an agenda today. Thank you guys for being here. This is our fourth YouTube live. We were kind of under the radar for the first couple, but we're all out there. We're letting it all hang out now. So this is from Lucas. Lucas says, how do you approach bossa nova lines in a different way than your bebop swing? Have any advice on that? Feel like I've evolved big time as a jazz musician. Thanks to you guys. Thanks, man. Thank you, Lucas. With these things, bossa nova, like if you think about like the pulse of the groove, once you get that groove, the lines should flow from that. And so I don't think you have to think about them as different than bebop swing. Of course, I wouldn't be necessarily like, because melodically that doesn't fit, but that's... What? I mean, wait, was that a surprise? Was that a surprise? I said you wouldn't do that. I guess more precisely it should have been.
Damn.
But look, you could kind of do it. So it's not. It doesn't have that, but it does have its own kind of lilt. Why am I picking the corniest line to demonstrate? Why? Okay. So I mean, it's just a matter of. Woo. I think there's a certain amount of, there's a foundation of a straighter thing, but to give it the syncopation and the lilt, you have to find. Wait, am I solo or is the bass solo? So what's happening?
Shade.
So I'm trying to kind of play more jazzy stuff that actually fits, from a conceptual.
Gospel.
So that, the more that you have established, I think, with the, and look, even if it's like a little bit fast tempo, like the more you get established in the left hand and the rhythm section, however it's being done, the more freedom you have to not have to be like. Triplets are really important. Eighth note and half quarter note. So I think in terms of how do you approach the lines differently. From a melodic standpoint, not at all. It's all about the rhythmic lilt that's built into how you lay those melodies within the groove. I think from a line and melody standpoint, and I know that sounds weird. It's like, how do you separate those things? You don't. But you're still telling a story. You're putting together phrases. You're developing things, and it was a tune I play. Photograph. Antonio Carr showed me.
Yeah. Beautiful.
But you could also do it.
Hey.
Like Joe Henderson did it. Oh, you don't like Joe?
Said hey.
But you can go in and out of them. So the more confident you get with the different grooves, the more I think that you can really treat them the same, like what you're hearing over it. Not that you'll it's not about that. I mean, sometimes it is. Man, we played that more than we've ever played that. So cool. Thank you for that question. Thank you guys for all the questions. I'm sorry we didn't get to everything, but we're going to take a look through these, and we may put some of these on the audio podcast. Because did you know, Adam Maness? With one N, that we are not only a award-winning YouTube channel. Word. We are also a podcast, audio podcast, and you can check us out. We're not telling you to scramble away from YouTube, but if you go to podcasts and you want to check us out, we're on there 5 days a week. Did you know that?
I did know that. Yeah, we've been on 5 days a week now for a few weeks.
Yes.
We started 7 days a week, and then we went to 5 days a week for the longest time.
Yeah.
And then in the pandemic, we eventually whittled it down to 3, and now we're back to 5, baby.
Right. And it's interesting because we're always like we get very little praise or anger either way.
Doesn't really matter. It's Joe. Joe's really the only person
Uncle
who
Joe
cares.
in Texas gives us some constructive feedback at times. But anyway, we're having fun with that 5 times a week there. So check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher. Big shout out to Stitcher. Thanks for the support. Wherever you get your podcasts. And then we have a couple other things that are new. Yeah, you can email us. Did you know that? Do you still email people?
I email you all the time. You never email me back.
Well, I've got a filter on a filter for Yom Kippur. No, so you can send us an email. I don't know why you'd want to, but no, you can ask us a question via email, and that can show up, especially on the audio podcast at times. You'd send that to YHI, you'll hear it, YHI at openstudiojazz.com. And we have a new feature that you don't know about.
What is that?
We are replacing the speak pipe.
What?
Yeah, speak pipe's done. Because some people are scared of it.
Why?
Yeah, because they don't know what it is. They're like, it's a pipe, it's a speaking, it's on the computer, yeah. So
what are we doing?
We're going old school. We're going with the call-in number.
A voicemail?
We have a voicemail.
This is a 314 number. This is a low. Is this your cell phone?
No, it's not my cell phone. You have to show me next time how to put this up on.
Is this an Emo's Pizza?
No, here it is. 314. We're going to figure out how to put this up as a graphic. Do you know how to do that?
I have no idea.
Oh, you don't know how to do that all right. Well, anyway, it's 314.
Oh, you mean on the eCam?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Okay. So it's anyway, if you want to call in 314, this is the first you're hearing about it. 314-282-6437.
Does that go to should they call in and we can have like Frasier, like, I'm listening?
Yeah, that might happen. Don't worry about that because it's going to take us some time to figure that out. We're going to drop this in the chat here. Boom. And then we're going to put that up there. So it says
Holy smokes.
So basically you can leave us a voicemail. And so just so you know, your voice may be used on a future episode here or on the audio podcast. But call in with your questions, with your whatever, and yeah. And then you can follow us on social media and hit us up there. I am Peter Martin. That's how I roll. What are you on social media? On Twitter?
I'm at Hey Open Studio.
I know. I didn't know, so I put that.
No, I'm pretty much off social media too. So.
Oh, he's off. So
I am on Instagram.
You watched the Netflix doc,
didn't
you?
That's scary stuff, man.
Yeah.
No, you can follow me on Instagram for sure.
We'll talk about that next week. So thank you guys for being here. If you have any suggestions, you can leave them here as well. And I think that's about it.
Yeah,
can you vamp for a second where I find the video that I'm supposed to play on the way out?
Are you going to play the video on the way out?
Isn't that what I'm supposed to do?
You go through so much trouble. No, seriously, join us again next week. We're here. I mean, we're committed every Monday, 4 p.m. Eastern. We're going to take your questions and try to give the most concise answers that we can. Sorry for all the questions we didn't get. I'm just going through here and seeing if we missed anything pressing. Christian's asking about the new program here.
Hold up, I lost us. Hold up. Oh, now we're back. Sorry. I was trying to start the movie.
Christian's asking about the new program, Peter. I don't know if you want to talk about the new program that we hinted at last
Open
week.
Studio. Well, we're going to give out a little more information exclusively here each week.
Yeah.
It's a very exciting thing, but it's going to be called Open Studio Pro. So, but we'll let you guys know first when that's up and running. And you know what? Should we tell them this much? It's going to start with just pianists.
Yeah.
But it's going to eventually expand to other instruments.
For sure.
I guess until next week.
You'll hear it.
All right. And this is the first time, so let's see if we can. Thank you guys. What's up, Luke? And we're just rolling along. Okay. Recording. Nope. Not quite there yet. We're getting close.
I feel a text from Ruben Rogers coming on.
How about this? Finish. Bam.